everyone, it's Brenda yet again, and I've been asked lots of times how I stamp my penny black, in particular cling silhouette stamps, using distress markers, which is my preference there, and this stamping platform. So I thought I would make this simple card to show you. It really is very simple and straightforward, and it's quick as well. I'm going to go with a different colourway. I'm going to go with pinks and turquoisey colours, but other than that, exactly the same it'll be. And my starting point is going to be the poem in the background, The Lady of Shalott, the first version that Tennyson wrote. I didn't know until I was researching it not long ago. They actually wrote two versions, the first one in 1832/3 and another one 10 years later. You learn something every day. So I just downloaded them from the internet, just onto straightforward white copy paper. I've got a bit of a collection there, as you can see. Cut them out ready, and then I just use distress inks to colour the background down. And to do that, I'm going to do it how I normally apply inks, although I'm not going to use an oxide. I'm going to use a straightforward tea dye distress ink. I'm trying to talk louder because people tell me my first couple of videos are a bit quiet, so I'm making an effort to be louder. My husband said it's not normally a problem for me. And he may well be right, but there again, that's probably when I'm hollering at him. I wonder why that might be. Dab it onto a piece of acetate. Those that know me know that's my preferred method of adding inks to a base card. Spritz it with water, and simple as that. Down it. Just leave it to dry naturally. If you dry copy paper with a heat gun, it can tend to bow sometimes. So if that happens, you can always just get the iron out and give it a quick run over. But who wants to do extra ironing? Let's face it. So I've got one already prepared here, so we don't have to wait for that to dry. And I'm going to get the stamp platform. Try and get it nice and central so you can all see it. Put my tea dye ink away, it might be a good idea. I'm going to put a sheet of paper underneath because I'm going to be moving the piece around a bit, and that'll then retain all the ink that goes off the edge there. And I'm going to put it central actually onto here so that I can stamp off the edge. You can see most of this is stamped off the edge. I'm going to use several magnets to hold it down because as it will be repeat stamped several times, I don't want it to move. I'm going to start off with, it's a penny black poppy I'm using called Spontaneous Joy, penny black 4597. Been out 3 or 4 years, but it's a beautiful stamp. I mean, I'm biased because yes, I like poppies, but just get an idea of where that's going to sit in there, about there. So I want my first stamping probably about there. I think that looks about right. That's fairly right. I'm going to use, for the flower itself, peacock feathers, wilted violet, and probably a bit of faded jeans, peeled paint and tea dye. To start off with doing the darkest colour around the edge using the brush end. you don't have to be at all precise about this, because you're going to keep going back in at it, and that will shift the colours about anyway. Do those little buds down there. And do peacock feathers down here to begin with. And with these brush stroke stamps, you'll never get 100% solid image, because that isn't how they're made. As you can see, that there are white areas in them, and you're never going to fill that. You could, if you wanted, you could take a wet paint brush while it's still damp and drag the colour in, but I think how they've made them is how they work best. And then a bit of the wilted violet in here. You never know quite how it's going to turn out, and it might not be always quite how you want it, but that's the joy of crafting. Don't worry about it drying out, because the spritz in the water will bring it all back to life. It is a bit. Oh yeah, it's got plenty of ink in it. It looked a bit dry. Let's do all the stems. And I like to always put a little bit of either an orangey or a browny colour on just the edges of the leaves. It just gives just a little bit more definition and draws the eye in. You'd be surprised how it picks up that colour. Right, a couple of really good spritz of water. I use a very fine mister for this, whereas this one gives a stronger spray. It's a bit too much onto stamps, you have too much water. The finer mist one works much better. Right, I'm just going to press it down. It probably won't be too obvious in the first stamping, but it gives the outline to start with. There we are, not bad. Right. Mop the water around from there, because if not, the stamp can slip and spread about a bit too much. Right, go back in now with some more of this. I'm not going to put any more of the dark blue on, the faded jeans, because there'll be enough. Bring a bit of blue down to the bottom if you want. So there's no right and wrong way. I think the leaves need a bit more defining. My friend Daisy is sitting out in the conservatory watching me through the door, because she's done nothing but bark this morning, because there's workmen in my daughter's house just across the courtyard, so she thinks she needs to be involved in that, and she's driving me to distraction. So she's in the conservatory watching. She's nice and warm in there, and Holly, I think, is laid out at the other end of my craft room, just chilling. Right, I think we're going to give that a bit more water, because that's not quite spread about as much as I may like. That's coming better. All we're really doing here is just adding more colour until it all is merged in, and it looks more natural. You haven't got too many defined lines. Pick up feathers at the top there. Give it a minute to move around. I think I'm going to use another green as well. I've got mowed lawn here, but that green isn't doing it for me at the moment. A bit more tea dye around the edge of those leaves. Okay. Yeah, that's giving quite a nice dark colour in there. Right, okay. Now, I'm going to move it about. I'm going to have to move it completely because it's got a big stamp. Your magnets do that. They're lethal when they jump at you. Ah, like that. And you can't separate them when they do it always. There we go. Right. They're alive. Okay, I'm going to go in. I'll keep it as near as I can to that one. Put another one in at the side here. About there. There we are. Okay. Like this. It does get a bit wet. Now, see, I'm just going to use that part of that, so I'm only going to ink that part. Absolutely no point wasting your ink unnecessarily. These are my preferred pen to do this with, though I've tried others. I bought the whole set of Artesia pens with the sole intention of doing this, and I'm really disappointed with the effect I got from them, so I went back to what I knew again. Trouble is they're quite expensive to buy individually now. As colours go, I always used to replace them, but they've got quite expensive now. I think they're about £3 plus per pen now. A little bit more on that one. Yep, that one I haven't gone quite far enough back on me. Right end might help. And we have got a little bit of green on here, haven't we? It's just coming in. Yes, I need a little bit more on that one. I haven't quite got all of that one in, have I? Which is that one, yeah. I should be able to just go like that and just finish that off. There we are, yeah. It's going to be on there like that. And I think that is all I'm going to put on that one. I've got an extra one down the bottom on this one, but I don't think I'm going to do that on this one because the placement is slightly different. Yeah. Very quick, very simple, as you can see. I don't know how long that's taken, probably only about 10 minutes or so. Okay, you can see it's a bit raised there because it's still dry, but as soon as that's dried out, that'll be perfect. Sorry, I haven't got it under the camera, have I? There we are. You can see that against that one. I do like the aqua and purples together. I think they're a lovely combination, and the slightly brown the background of this one with the tea dye I think lends itself to those colours more than the yellowy with the oranges there. Okay, thanks for looking everybody, hope you enjoyed.